Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content. So, J-Mac, tonight, I try to stay away from games that have backup quarterbacks against old quarterbacks. But tonight, the Steelers are at Cincinnati, and I'm gonna ask for something. It's not a big thing, but for anybody that is a Steeler fan, let's start our show with this. All you Yinzers out there, I'm just asking, it's a small favor. I don't think you're capable of a big favor with your Steelers. You're very emotional. I'm asking a small favor. At about 11:30 p.m. tonight Eastern, you're probably going to be 5-1. And I just want you to add a little perspective, realizing you have beaten Justin Fields, Dylan Gabriel, Carson Wentz, and 40-year-old Joe Flacco by 11:30 p.m. tonight. I'm just asking for a little perspective. Let's put it this way. Your first 5 games, all green lights driving to work. That's, we all get that. We all get that. About once a month, you're like, man, I got all green lights. Work was an 11-minute drive, not a 30-minute drive. Aaron Rodgers is not throwing the ball down the field. The offense is ranked very low. But because of the big body types, they don't have to take risks. And I have said I think it's very smart football by Aaron Rodgers. But after tonight, go grab your pocket schedule. It sort of changes. Next up, the Packers. Then maybe the best offensive line in football, a team that is humming, Indianapolis. Then at Justin Herbert, by the way, Joe Alt will be back. Hampton will be back. Khalil Mack will be back. At Chicago, Buffalo, at Baltimore with Lamar, at Detroit, Baltimore again. And this is precisely what I predicted. You did this last year. I said last year you're going to be 9, 8, 10 wins, but it'll be rough down the stretch, and it was. This year I said you're going to win 8 or 9 games. You're going to be 8-9 and 9-8. It's going to start hot. This is a Mike Tomlin trend going back to like 2020, that he's very emotional, very rah-rah, very inspiring. And that stuff wears off by about week 11. And it comes down to scheme, health, quarterback play, of which the Steelers, since Big Ben got old, hasn't been very good. Last year, you were 10-3. And then the rest of the way, including a playoff game, you were 0-5. So you have played one good team, Pittsburgh, Seattle. They averaged 6.2 yards a play. Sam Darnold didn't even play well, and they blew you out in Pittsburgh. So right now, your offense is ranked 29th. Your defense is ranked 25th. 5-1 is what we call football inflation at 11:30 p.m. tonight. Mike Tomlin teams, go back a few years. Start hot. Motivation stuff wears off. Pom-poms put in the ground. Best teams win late. So you're going to beat Joe Flacco in Cincinnati. You're going to beat him. But Robert Mays, podcaster, writer for The Athletic, said if you look at the data, if you look at the analytics, Aaron playing safe works now. It probably doesn't work against Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert. Here's Robert.
He can still pin the ball on guys. But ultimately, when you're playing against the Broncos defense on divisional weekend, you're going to need to read stuff out and access different parts of the play than whatever your first immediate one-on-one opportunity is. And I still don't think we've seen him do that enough.
And I think now he's been able to exist in this box and it's been okay. If you push him outside of that, I think that's where things get a little bit dicey. I think you can feel him not wanting to sit in the pocket very long and read stuff out a little bit deeper into these plays.
We saw that with an older Brady. We saw that with an older Eli. We're seeing it with an older Aaron. You will be 5-1 tonight. And I like what Pittsburgh's doing right now because, as I've said multiple times, this is how Aaron should be playing now. Big body type advantages. The defense makes plays. And a good, solid defense, it's not great, little old in spots, takes advantage of Flacco's and Wentz's and Dylan Gabriel's and young quarterbacks. That's what it does. Listen, I said when I thought Caleb Williams was going to be really, really good, and Justin Fields probably never will be. When I first moved to Chicago, people would say, oh, Justin Fields. Well, that ship has sailed. 3 teams not working. Caleb Williams has I think to some degree has turned the corner. He's not there yet. He still misses on accuracy, but young quarterbacks are tough to judge. Sometimes they shock you how good they are right out of the gate, Jaden Daniels, and then some shock you how good they get quickly in, year 2, Drake May. Some are a work in progress, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, and some say Bo Nix. I don't think Bo Nix is a work in progress. I think he's a franchise quarterback that I wish would run more. He did last year. He stopped doing it this year. He's highly effective, and I think he should run more. But I saw a story today about Bo Nix. How to make Bo Nix better, read the headline. Well, he's 23 NFL starts in. His completion percentage is 66%, good enough to get you to a Super Bowl. 43 total touchdowns, 17 turnovers. Pretty good beginning of year 2. Passer ratings, low 90s, 92. I'd rather have it at 97, 98. But he's 14-9 in a division with Spags, Jesse Minter, and now Pete Carroll. Max Crosby, Chris Jones, Khalil Mack. Great edge rushers, great top of the league defensive guys, Jesse Minter and Spags. He's 14-9. And my takeaway is Michael Penix and Caleb Williams are a work in progress. Drake and Jaden and Bo Nix, they work. So I will tell you what I've noticed with Bo Nix, because I think Denver's the 3rd best team in the league. He's got to get better throwing the ball down the field. If you look at all the data from the line of scrimmage to 13 yards, 15 yards actually, or fewer, right? Slot, 15 yards in. Passer ratings, 95. Completes 72% of his throws, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. Downfield, 16, 18, 23 chunk plays, he has struggled. I don't think he's ever going to be a great deep ball thrower. But when Brady had Randy Moss, that was the time he didn't win a Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes with a huge arm is actually better and winning more Super Bowls since Tyreek Hill was traded. Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl, and he struggles getting it to his deep guy, A.J. Brown. So Bo Nix doesn't take sacks, sees the field. He's very accurate. He needs to be better down the field. Cortland Sutton, Mims Franklin, those guys can get down the field and beat coverage and separate. But I think it's established. I think Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Bo, these are franchise quarterbacks. Caleb and Penix, I think both are going to work. One's a great athlete. One's got a beautiful throwing release. I think those eventually work. The other thing you could argue beyond running, he stopped running this year. And I've argued for years, when you're a young quarterback for the first 2.5 years, run to move the chains as you're figuring out defenses. Right? Patrick Mahomes admitted, year 3, lights went on. Play slowed down. Russell Wilson said that years ago. Brady has said that. Get into year 3, everything slows down. It's the beginning of year 2. Bo Nix ran a lot last year. This year, he's trying to master the pocket. Don't. It'll come. Run more. And speed it up. Speed the tempo up. Bo Nix talked about that.
I just like it because it gets the defense off balance. They, don't have many calls that they can get to when you go quick. And we just play well from, quick game and getting to the ball, seeing what they're in, just finding answers and going. I think it's just tough on defenses. It always has been. I think that's the biggest reason is because it limits what a defense can do.
People kept telling me Justin Fields was it. Last year, against Mahomes and Reed, Spags, Herbert, Khalil Mack, there was a Bosa, there was Justin Herbert. Bo Nix made the playoffs, and they're still carrying dead cap money. Bo Nix is a franchise quarterback. May never throw a great deep ball. Other than that, he's good.
Today's show brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. The pennant's on the line. Lights are brighter than ever. One swing can change everything, and you can be part of every pitch at Hard Rock Bet. New customers can place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but also $150 in extra bonus bets. Plus, every day this week on Hard Rock Bet, you get a profit boost for a postseason baseball parlay. There's new promos every day. Boost your same-game parlay or same-game parlay max so your bet pays extra winnings. If you want to see what everybody else is betting on tonight, right, top picks or parlays across any sport, the Hard Rock Bet app literally shows you. It's another reason to download the app. Takes 90 seconds just for the info. Tap Discover, and you can see trending picks and parlays at any time. So download the Hard Rock Bet app. Make your first deposit.
So I saw a story this morning.
I thought the Cowboys would win 4 to 5 games and have a top 7 pick. Dak looks better than ever, and the coaching staff, at least on the offensive side, is functional. And I'm very critical of Jerry Jones, but there's 2 things he got right recently that you cannot deny. Number one, the George Pickens trade for a 3rd-round pick was sensational. He's been tremendous, especially with the CeeDee Lamb injury. And the other thing that I think matters in the NFL, they're entertaining. It's a good TV product. Jerry, once again, hired an offensive coach. He knows where the league is going. If you watch the Jets or Cleveland, the Saints or the Titans, it's bad television. The Commanders, Cowboys this weekend, if I told you 33-30, field goal wins it, you wouldn't be shocked. Titans are never going to be in games like that. Either the Jets, this point forward. But the Micah trade, I gave the organization flexibility. The Pickens moves turned out great. And they're the number 1 TV show in the country. I mean, go look at the numbers of NFL football. It's the number 1 TV show, 96 out of the top 100 shows. And so the Titans and Jets are bad TV, and you're saying, what does that have to do with anything? It has to do with the vibe. There's a difference between being hopeless and hopeful. What's the difference? Both teams are bad, Titans and Cowboys, you can argue. What's the difference in life between hopeless and hopeful? Momentum. What's it look like? What's it feel like? If I was a free agent, I look at the Cowboys and I think they have 2 first-round picks. If they get the best edge rusher and the top corner, Kenny Clark, go spend some money now. They have flexibility. You can fix that thing in a year. Folks, look what New England's done in a year with a new coaching staff. You can fix it in a year. Look what Harbaugh did. Worst defense to first defense. Same guys, 1 year. So the Dallas vibe is entertaining, big offense, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Javonte Williams. They just need a better defense. It's a very hopeful, optimistic next 12 months. Jets don't have the quarterback, don't have the coach. I'm not sure if they have the vibe or the ownership. Are they distracted? The Cowboys feel promising. Pickens, flexibility, 2 first-round picks. George Pickens, I do wonder what happens when CeeDee Lamb comes back, maybe this weekend, and takes a lot of those targets. How does that land for George Pickens? But Jerry says they would consider a long-term deal with him.
We'll weigh that. We knew full well that if things really went like we want them to go, that certainly we need to think about having some room available if we're going to pay a second receiver at that level.
You never want to be bad and boring. If you're not very good, Cowboys aren't bad. If you're not very good, but wildly entertaining, agents, pro athletes, coaches, you can sell that. Try selling the Titans to a free agent. Try selling the dysfunctional Jets to a free agent. Dak, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Javonte Williams, 2 first-round picks. In this league, you could absolutely see next year if they nail their first 2 picks. First 3 picks, 2 first, a second, all defensive guys. 2 out of 3 hit big, 1 starts. You don't think they can change it? So you got to give them credit. I like the Micah deal, the Pickens deal. They went with an offensive coach, way better than I thought. When I think of the Cowboys right now, I do not put them close. If you look at right now, the top 10 picks in the draft, it's a lot of sad sack organizations. It's a lot of Cleveland, Jets, Saints, Titans. Dallas isn't there yet. Arizona, Carolina. My feeling on those teams is negative. My feeling on the Cowboys is just hit on those 2 picks. So it's coming up here in a few weeks, the trade deadline. And there's a story this morning, and we've been saying this now for a week. Keep your eye on the Chargers, running back and offensive tackle. So this is what I've been saying, and here's how I view the trade deadline. Buffalo Bills, Chargers, Rams, go get help. You have superstar quarterbacks. If you do not have a great quarterback, don't. That's what bad teams do. I hear all these Jalen Waddle to the Giants rumors. Stupid. Think about it this way. Think about free agency like Aaron It's similar to poker. What's your hand? The Giants have a pair of pocket twos. Scattaboo and Jackson Dart. Nice twos. You're not winning the hand. Okay. You got Herbert, Allen, Stafford. Okay. That's a pair of kings. That's a pair of aces. Take a swing. Now, Khalil Mack may play this weekend against the Colts. Joe Alt is coming back in the next couple of weeks. Hampton's coming back as well. And if you didn't go to the trade deadline, the Chargers feel like, to me, they're a playoff team. With Alt at left tackle, Hampton back at running back, and Khalil Mack, they will. Those are three elite players. I don't think you need a big swing. Keep your eye on Alvin Kamara as a backup running back from the Saints. Keep your eye. Now, Carolina's got a young running back, but he just had a monster weekend against the Cowboys. Rico Dowdle used to be a Cowboy, had a great week. I don't think Carolina, in that weak division, Carolina thinks they may be a playoff team. I think you could get him in 3 weeks when they're not a playoff team. It doesn't look like it because I think Atlanta and Tampa are just better. But when I look at the trade deadline, who's your quarterback? Bills, you can't stop the run. That's how you lose games in January. Josh Allen doesn't get on the field. Buffalo, make a move. Doesn't have to be a gigantic swing. Something on the interior of the defense. Chargers, a backup swing tackle or a running back. Hampton's been hurt once. Running backs get hurt a lot. And then, you're the Rams. You got to get a legit corner. You need a big corner, in my opinion. I don't think they're massive swings. I think all the teams are good enough to win multiple playoff games. But the coaching's better in the playoffs, and your weaknesses will be exposed. And the Chargers at running back and tackle, the Rams at corner, and the Bills interior defense, the good teams will take advantage of it. Greg Cosell, 15 minutes. We all get smarter. So many questions to ask. So I think in the last 3 weeks, I think Mahomes has been so good. And I was saying it this week. Only the Chiefs can take Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, these are dynamic players. Now, Worthy's good. I've always felt he's a bit more gadget guy than he is volume guy. But when you look at the Chiefs, is it Mahomes' magic or is it scheme? Because Hollywood Brown could go on 30 teams and not make an impact, and yet it's a couple of touchdowns on the Chiefs. Is it scheme or Mahomes?
Well, Colin, it's funny. I thought last week in particular was very scheme-based. I thought they had a really good sense, and it comes, of course, from Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, a very good sense of what they were getting from the Lions defense. Now, don't forget the Lions were playing with backup corners on the outside. They were playing with a number of other backups as well. And I thought they had a really good feel for what they were going to get in certain situations. And I thought it was really scheme-based. It wasn't a Mahomes game in the sense that, wow, he did some special things. I thought he executed at a really high level, a really well-designed offense. I thought the best individual play he made, Colin, was on the first possession when he hit Smith-Schuster on the crosser. That was not the primary receiver. That was the backside crosser. And that was just one of those special Mahomes plays because Kirby Joseph, who's very good as an interceptor, reads quarterbacks well, he was waiting right there. And I think he thought he was going to make a play on the ball. But Mahomes, with the arm strength and just his understanding of spatial awareness, which is as good as anyone we've seen, he just made a big-time throw. But that game was much more, to me, watching the tape, scheme-based than, wow, look at these great individual plays.
So let's talk about the team that was seen as the nemesis, the arch nemesis, the primary rival of the Chiefs, Buffalo. So my take is what you want to do in the NFL is draft a quarterback, get the right quarterback, and then make him comfortable. Weapons and protection. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Michael Penix. We can just say Buffalo's defense isn't very good, but I thought Penix and London and Robinson, I thought that was a pretty potent, especially indoors, that was a pretty potent offense, was it not?
It is, and the way they use Bijan Robinson is really good. I mean, Bijan Robinson, in my view, is the best running back in the league, but he's more than just a running back. They line him up all over. This is a pistol offense, by the way. They run pistol a very, very high percentage. And the number one run that they have, they're an outside zone run team, which you run at a pistol. 71 of Bijan's carries this year, of his 83 carries, have come out of pistol, and it's outside zone for the most part. But they really use him in multiple ways. The Bills don't really have a strong pass rush. They've tried to upgrade it, but it's still not good enough with a four-man D line. And offensively, Colin, to me, when you have Josh Allen, I think that your pass game needs to be a little more expansive. I know they don't have great receivers, but you know what? To me, to construct a pass game tactically and conceptually and the way you attack zone, I think they need to do more things. You know, Josh Allen's your quarterback. He can make throws. I almost feel like they're a running football team, and if the game demands, then it's time for Josh. But I don't think you can play like that every week. I think you need more consistency with what you do conceptually in your pass game.
Yeah, no, I said it this week, is that I feel like Sean Payton squeezes every ounce out of Bo Nix. Ben Johnson has clearly gotten more out of Caleb than the previous coach. Andy Reid does it with gadget players and backups. I rarely watch Buffalo and go, wow, that's creative offensively. I don't. I think they have some players I like, but I don't see that. Speaking of Caleb, I didn't think he was great on Monday night. I think there are two things I worried about out of USC. Yeah, I watched them out of USC. The two criticisms that were valid: consistent accuracy and playing within structure. I think he's gotten better within structure. I think his accuracy is still a major problem. How would you grade him on Monday night's win?
I would say that both of the things you said are very valid. I think even some completions that he hasn't been as sharp with his ball location as he needs to be. That's an area he must continue to improve. He throws a beautiful ball. He's an easy thrower. I think Ben Johnson has really designed some really good things for him. That touchdown to Swift on third down was just a beautifully conceived and well-designed play that presented just an easy routine throw. And then, of course, Swift with the run after catch. But I think the ball location, which is the better term now than just accuracy, the ball location has to get more and more consistent because there's a lot of in-breaking throws in the Ben Johnson offense. And you want to hit receivers on in-breaking throws where they have run after catch. And he needs to get better at that because that's foundationally much of what that offense is in the pass game.
So you and I have both always loved Justin Herbert, and that Chargers-Colts game is going to be a real game. Herbert made a play to Lad McConkey, switching hands with the ball. Is that what's fascinating about the Chargers now? We know the coach is good. We know Herbert's great. But they didn't have Quentin Johnson. They didn't have their top two backs. They didn't have their tackles. So when you look at film on the Chargers, and sometimes fans and the media, we can be unfair with this. There's just things, Greg, they can't do now. So when I watch them, I'm like, Lad McConkey's great. No Quentin Johnson, no tackles, third running back. For the Chargers to win that game, traveling 3,000 miles, I was actually impressed. I thought it would be close. Now that Alt, Hampton, Khalil Mack's coming back, when you watch the Chargers on film, is there anything more Herbert and Harbaugh can do, or this is just what they are now?
Well, I think they played that game based on tape study not to expose the limitations of the offensive line because there were a lot of quick rhythm, three-step drop timing, quick five-step drop timing throws. He rarely dropped back deep. He hardly ever threw the ball at the intermediate and deeper levels. Everything was quick game, Colin, and I think your point's right. Right now they're playing with backup tackles. Bobby Hart played right tackle. They signed him last week. He was there for 5 days, and he's starting at right tackle. So they played this game not to expose their offensive line, and they played 16 snaps with 3 tight ends and actually ran the ball very effectively out of that. And even this touchdown to Vidal came out of 3 tight ends in the low red zone. So right now it's coaching. Now you have to understand what you can do and what you can't do and play accordingly.
So Philadelphia, speaking of coaching, we've said this before. Sirianni's more motivator than scheme guru. And when they had good coordinator Steichen, and Steichen took over the play calling, they were elite. He leaves, they substitute, find a new OC. It does not look good. Tailspin. Right. Then they get Kellen Moore. It's better. Now they've made another replacement for a young man that was on the staff, had never called plays. I think they have a little bit of a coaching crisis. People could point to injuries, but it's the NFL. Nobody's totally healthy. Don't they have to just, if I just said to you, they run the ball 51 times this week with a variety of people, isn't it just as simple as, guys, here's what we are. We're a run team. Is it any more complicated than that?
Well, not significantly so, but I think when you watch their tape the last couple of years, okay, don't forget they had an historic season a year ago with the run game. But I think when you watch the tape, and people around the league would echo this, they were built on having arguably the best O-line in the league, a really good defensive front. Don't forget, in 2022, you can talk Steichen all you want, they led the NFL in quarterback sacks and had about 30 of them on third down. So they were a team built in the trenches. It started with the O-line and the D-line. And right now, neither one of those units is playing at even an average level. So the question you then ask is, where do they go from here? You know, can they get the running game back? The O-line has been poor this year, Colin. Not even average, but poor. So the question is, what's next? Do you have to try to create, you know, to use your term, gimmick-type plays on offense? What can you do on offense? You also, on offense, always have to play to what your quarterback is. And I think they've told you, I don't think we have to guess this, I think they've told you by how they play that they believe that Jalen Hurts has pure drop-back limitations, which, by the way, the tape does show. So the question is, if they can't run it, are they limited in what the answers are? You know, I don't know if we know the answer 100%, but I think they're kind of telling you that they're uncertain where to go right now.
Okay, so I got, before we get to our big play, I want to talk about Green Bay. So,
sure.
I think Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the league that nobody will admit is a good quarterback. He's got the size, the arm, the movement. Yeah. Generally, we all kind of know that's a good quarterback, that's an average guy. I think Jordan's a really good quarterback, but they're not scoring a ton. They're in a lot of close games. Now, my interpretation is this is the youngest offense in the league. It's almost collegiate. It's 23 or 24 and 25. Seattle's a little bit of this. Seattle's really young. They're finding themselves. And sometimes, you know, this is early for Jordan. It still hasn't played that many games. What do you see? Now, people say, well, they lost here. They're close here. I think Jordan Love is an exceptional quarterback. He's not Allen, but he's exceptional. What does the tape say?
You know, it's his only third year as a starter, which is probably hard for people to believe. It's not as if he's a 10-year pro. You know, he's a third-year starter. I think one thing that I've really noticed on tape, and when I watched him this week, I even said to one of my guys, you know, in the matchup room, I said, you know, I think he's a little bit less reckless now, and he's become a little more efficient in how he plays. Every once in a while, he'll throw one and you go, maybe he shouldn't have done that. But I think the way he's playing is a little more refined, a little less reckless, a little more efficient. So there's not as many big plays, which maybe is the reason they're not necessarily scoring as many points. They've gotten the run game going the last couple of weeks. But I think they're sort of settling into being a team that can win multiple ways. They can win with a run game. They can win with efficient passing. They can win with big play passing. And I think it will continue to come together. But the tape really shows a quarterback that I believe is just maturing.
Yeah. So tonight, Aaron Rodgers takes on Pittsburgh. Now, I have defended Aaron. Pittsburgh's a very unique offense. Between Washington and Hayward and Freiermuth and DK Metcalf, it looks like an NBA front court. It's a there's no small gadgety guys. It is a big, strong, long receiving tight end group. And I think Aaron knows that. There's matchup opportunities. I don't think yet it's a down the field offense. And I think Aaron knows it doesn't look like it to me. So I think Aaron smartly is going, hey, listen, we're gonna have to run the ball 15 yards and in, play good defense, get turnovers, especially when we're playing second-tier quarterbacks. The PFF grades and other grades are like, this is bad. And my take is, well, personnel dictates scheme. So you tell me, is Aaron letting go of it early because of age and concern for health? Or does the tape show you this is what they're going to be offensively?
Well, I can't get into Aaron's head. I'm not sure anybody wants to do that. But one thing that the tape shows is they're a very condensed passing game. They played last week with a lot of 6-0 line personnel. The Darnell Washington kid is just at tight end is just a huge guy and a terrific blocker. So they're really playing a specific way, which leads you to believe that they either feel that that's the best way for Aaron to play right now, or they don't have enough on the outside where they feel like they can truly push it down the field. But right now they're very, very condensed, and they're winning games. That's the thing. So, you're not going to change until it's demanded that you change. But he does not push the ball down the field at all, Colin. I mean, that's the reality. That's what the tape shows. It's really a tight offense. It's very condensed.
Yeah, and they really do. They're the biggest offense in the league. I mean, Metcalf is they're just so big and physical. And I think there's different ways to win in this league, and that's how they're going to have to win. Okay, so the next couple of minutes, I've been so impressed with Drake May. And what's fascinating with young quarterbacks, Bo Nix last year in September as a rookie, you're like, oh boy. And then in October, you're like, okay, this works. Drake May has popped in the last 3 to 4 weeks. I watch him. He's accurate. He's confident. He's always had size and arm strength and movement. What on film are you looking at with the Patriots kid and going, wow, that sticks, that lands?
When I watch him, I feel like there's such a calculated way in which he plays. He's a very calm player. He's an easy thrower. He's been phenomenal in 2 areas that you really look at for young quarterbacks. That's third down and versus blitz. But one trait that he clearly has, and a lot of young quarterbacks really struggle with this, is what I call pocket movement, which is different than leaving the pocket, Colin. He moves around the pocket. He keeps his eyes downfield. He does not drop his eyes and look at the rush. He keeps his eyes downfield. He moves within the pocket and then makes really good throws. And you don't see a lot of young quarterbacks with that given trait, because that's a very refined quarterback trait. But he just looks very comfortable. And, you talk about coaches. I know you talked about the Jets. I heard you speak about that. What do you think they should do? But you bring in a coach like Josh McDaniels, who's been doing it a long time with a proven track record, knows how to work with quarterbacks. That's the way, to me, you have to do it with a young quarterback. And then he can design things, too, that present clean looks and clean throws.
Greg Cosell, NFL Films, 46 years. As always, we get smarter. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate it.
For the record, I defended a broadcaster for another network that used to work at this network, and you notice Greg Cosell said the same thing that broadcaster did, and I've been saying this week is Caleb wasn't great. He left about 6 completions, potentially, on the dirt. And if not, maybe 4, and then 3 or 4 other balls. I mean, one of the great things about Brady, and you see that Herbert's really good at this. In fact, Ladd McConkey was talking about it this week, is that when Herbert lets go of the ball, you catch the ball as a receiver moving in that direction. You don't have to wait for Herbert's ball, and you don't have to reach back for it. Accuracy is really important. Duh. But that's like with Brady. Guys, Edelman's not a 4-3 guy, but Edelman runs like that when he's at full speed and the ball's in his hands going forward. You can turn a 4-4 guy to a 4-3 guy. Guys get really fast when they don't have to stop to catch it. So Caleb's just got to be more consistently accurate. And I said, when that film came out in camp where he was getting very frustrated with accuracy, he's aware of it. He knows it. Jaden Daniels, I thought last year, had that. Bo Nix had it on short throws. Bo is very accurate. If he gets the ball out to Mims or Franklin or Harvey, right in the sweet spot, where I'm going, they don't throw hospital balls. There's a lot of tricks. Don't throw balls that get guys hurt. Don't throw balls where they have to go back and they set themselves up. That's where Caleb's got to grow. I do think he's playing and being coachable in structure. That part, I think he's shown clear strides over 3 weeks. He may just never be a super accurate quarterback.
Yeah. Colin, how much of this it was an island game on Monday, right? I know there were 2 games going on, but really the second half, everybody was just watching Caleb. Because if he played like he did Monday at 1 p.m. on Sunday, I don't think there's any of this discussion. Well, he missed a couple throws. It feels like nitpicking. I'm not defending Ben Johnson pushing back.
Well,
I thought Caleb was fine. He's a second-year quarterback in a brand new system. He ain't going to ever be Justin Herbert, I'll tell you that right now.
Listen,
he was fine.
I said he was fine.
Yeah.
But let's not go beyond that. He was fine, and they won. Washington was driving for the win in the cover and fumbled. So it's like it was fine.
Yeah.
You had a 3-turnover advantage. You know that Washington's not a great team so far. I'm still not sure Jaden Daniels is 100%. I think he's close to it, but I don't think he's quite there. But
it's interesting because they got the Saints this weekend, the Bears. Okay, line's coming down. There's some money coming in on the Saints. Not a lot, but it's early. I'm curious how Caleb handles a little success, Colin. Right, his coach is defending him in the media. He beat Jaden Daniels head to head.
No, he's a very aspirational kid. He wants to be great. He's a worker. I don't worry about any of that. And you can see he's coachable because he is playing in structure. That part I'm seeing. But the accuracy thing, we got to be honest. Like, Bo Nix may never be a great deep ball thrower. And Caleb may be around 62.5%, 63%. With his horsepower, you're fine.
But never say never, because we're seeing Baker turning around, Darnold turning around, to the point, Daniel Jones. I mean, maybe it's just 6 games or whatever, but Daniel Jones is doing things we never saw him do with the Giants.
Fair.
Remember, he was Vanilla Vic. He was just running because he couldn't throw.
Yeah. No, I think I thought it was an encouraging step. Yeah. And I'll say this. The thing about the Bears is the last 2 games they've won, they would have lost those last year. They're winning. Yeah. This league is W's. Win the game. You know, this is not baseball where you know what? Tomorrow we're going to use the bullpen. Like, win the game. Everything wins solves a lot in a locker room. Dave Wanstead always says that. You can lose 2 straight games. You can lose games. You lose 3 straight, you start losing the locker room. And so the Bears last year lost the room. They weren't just losing games. So just winning games on a block kick or a fumble, you know what? Practice is better. The drive to work's better. There's less grumbling. People are getting not enough touches, but I still think I need more Colston Loveland in the offense. I think he's kind of lost a little bit. I want more Luther Burden, the kid from Missouri. I think he's good. He only had, 4 catches.